We live in a world that's filled with technology, but is there room for even more? Well, we sat down for an interview with Chris Anderson, the CEO of 3D Robotics, to talk about why he thinks drones are the future and to find out why he wants everyone to have their own personal drone, plus why he thinks drones are the future of food and shouldn't be used to fight wars.
Well, we make drones, and what a drone is it's an aircraft like these here that can fly by itself. It's got a brain. It's got GPS waypoints and sensors, and it does a job like maybe carry a camera around for things like agriculture. Now, you've heard of drones for military purposes. These are all for commercial purposes. They're small, they're cheap, they're designed to be used by regular people. And what we make here is the electronics, the airframes themselves, the software, everything necessary to make an aircraft fly. This company is sort of started with a case of parenting gone horribly wrong. I'm not an engineer. I was the editor of Wired, media guy, but I have 5 kids, and I'm constantly trying to get the kids interested in science and technology. And one day I thought, Lego robots, that would be cool. And they disagreed. They did not think the robots were cool. And I was like, okay, well, what would be cooler than a Lego robot? And I thought, a flying Lego robot. So we made it, and it kind of almost worked. And the kids lost interest, but I went right down the rabbit hole. We started a community called DIY Drones. The community started creating designs. The designs got better and better. They were like, hey, can you just make something that we can buy? And 3 years later, here we are. There's tens of thousands of these out there right now, and about a third of them are just for fun. Just hobbyists, enthusiasts who are like, flying aerial robot? Yes, please. 1/3 are developers, people who think this is the sort of the leading edge of aerospace or robotics or maybe even agriculture. And it's an open platform. We're an open source company, so they can then add things to it. They can experiment with it. They can tinker. So that's the sort of the people who will be developing the next generation. And 1/3 just wanted to do a job. They're like, I need a camera over a construction site, or I need a camera over my farm, or I need a camera over my, soccer game, or I want a camera to follow me as I kite surf. And just do it. And they do that too. One of the things people ask me all the time is, what are drones for? And for many years I was like, it's not my job to figure out what they're for. It's my job to make them cheap and reliable and accessible to everybody so that they can figure out what it's for. It'd be the same thing like in the early days of the personal computer. Did Jobs and Wozniak know what the personal computer is for? And I think their answer would have been, well, you can program it. But once they came out with the Mac and beyond, then we figured out, we the users figured out that it was, video games and the web and desktop publishing and all that. So that's the same thing that's happening with drones. We make the drones cheap and easy, and then the users tell us what they're for. And about a few years ago, these farmers started getting in touch, and they're like, these things are awesome for crop surveys. And I was like, crop what? And they're like, it turns out that as farms get bigger and bigger, and there's fewer and fewer people working on them, that this sort of sense of what's going on the field is a harder question to answer. It used to be farmers would walk the field, too big to walk these days. Now farmers are like, we'd like to fly the field. But we don't want to pay some Cessna, $8,000 an hour or whatever to do this. We just want to push a button and have a drone do a crop survey and give us the daily crop report. If you could bring big data to big agriculture, you could start to manage more better. You could do what's called precision agriculture. Use less water, use less chemicals, get higher productivity. Imagine if something as simple as drones plus sensors, with like Google like big data analytics, which is all available, could allow us to, lower the chemical load in our food and our environment. All the big ag companies are doing this. Is it the future of aerospace, or is it the future of agriculture, or both? I think the only way to find out is to put these things in the hands of regular people. The personal computer was not the best computer in the world, but it was the only one that you as a regular person can use. And we did extraordinary things. The web was not the best telecommunications, tool, but it was the only one we could use, and we did extraordinary things. We think robotics is the next frontier. What we read about drones traditionally is Afghanistan, military, Hellfire missiles, etc. And I think that, there's definitely a kind of military stigma attached to the word drone right now. Now, we happen to use the word drone. We think it's a good word. Other people use unmanned aerial vehicle, unmanned aerial systems, et cetera. But I think it's our job not to not use the word the military uses, but rather recontextualize it. Again, GPS used to be cruise missile controllers. The internet was designed to connect military facilities together. We don't remember that anymore because we overwhelmed the bad associations with good associations. And so, we are definitely trying to redefine the word drone so that today you think Hellfire missiles, tomorrow you think crops. We think we're inventing a new industry, along with others like us. I mean, how often do you get to be at the sort of ground floor of what could be the future of blank? Whether it's the future of aerospace, or the future of food, or the future of something I haven't even thought of, you get to be at the future of moment. It's so funny. I keep watching these sci-fi movies. Like we were watching, there's a movie called Looper. And there's a scene in Looper where it's set on a farm, and the scene where the farmer, this woman, sort of goes by this bit of rusty machinery and sort of taps it, and then she walks off. And it takes off, and it flies, and I think it's a crop sprayer of some sort. It's a drone crop sprayer. And that's supposed to be set in like 2050. Like, aside from the spraying part, you sort of tap it, it goes off and flies itself. We do that today. Other movies like Prometheus, where they're on this planet, there's these tunnels, they have these balls, they let them go in the tunnels, then these balls sort of map the tunnels and come back to the street. We can do that today. It's hard to find anything in sci-fi that we haven't already done, and the question is, how can we make this mainstream? These are cameras with wings. I mean, if you could, let's say there was a fire or something, and you could, responsibly and legally, et cetera, say, I would love the perfect camera angle. Camera, go there, look at that, swing around, zoom in, and come back, and just do it yourself, hands off, using your smartphone. You simply go to the scene, you call up the scene, and you say, I want that. You tap that, and you press go, and the camera takes off, flies around, and comes back. You don't think military anymore. It's a plane with a brain.